Hey, welcome back to the Virgo channel. My name is Laura if you're new to the channel, and I'm going to do a general message, obviously, for Virgo. Know that energy is fluid, roles could be reversed. Just interpret the message as it best resonates. Okay, never force anything, especially on this channel, because we don't just look and see what goes on the surface. I like to look at the spiritual blocks, see how they play out as karmic themes within your experience. That enables you to look at your situation from a different perception, which a lot of times is very healing all in itself. But it allows you to see what new behaviorisms, new habits, and that could be through a daily practice, it could be through a ritual, what healing you would need to do in order to create balance within your situation. How to integrate the spiritual lesson is how you do shadow healing. And so, like I said, we do look and see the hidden truths, what your person feels about you, because we all want to know that. And we need to know that. We need to know what a person's true intentions are. Now, people that have negative intentions, they need healing. People that have positive intentions, obviously, don't need healing. So we're all spiritual beings having human experiences. So we're supposed to be here in physical form to learn and to manifest. And so, in order to do that successfully, we need to be a clear conduit for spirit to work through. Now, whether you call it God, whether you call it universe, whether you call it spirit, whether you call it energy or prana or chi, it's all the same thing. It's spirit and it's of consciousness. And this consciousness is unconditional love. You have unconditional love inside of you. That's what you're made up of. You are the energy of the universe. You are the energy of God. You are the energy of unconditional love because we're all born without being prejudiced, without, putting our own labels on things. Things are just things. We don't have judgment. It's just everything's accepted when we're children. We're taught to be prejudiced. We're conditioned in environments. And a lot of times we're conditioned in very imbalanced environments, which is what creates the shadows. So in order to get the benefit of this channel, you want to be doing shadow healing to appreciate it. Number one, otherwise you're going to feel like it's a longer than normal type of reading because the readings can go 30 minutes, they can go 40 minutes, depending on how many spiritual blocks you and your person have. So again, we do this so you can see your situation from new perceptions, and that enables you to actually do different things so you can quantum jump into the reality that you want to experience because there's many different realities that play out at one time. Your level of consciousness depends on how clear you are, how spiritually clear. That means, are you coming from a place of unconditional love? And does your character deflect that, reflect that? Does it show that when you interact with the people in the world? Or does it show something else? What we see a lot of happening is that when people live in a place of fear, they form behaviorisms that are not in alignment with their higher self, the God part of self. Now we all have the higher self and the ego self. And it's natural to have an ego. You should have a healthy ego, which means desire things. The problem comes when we don't believe that we can have those things. And so because we don't, we then are greedy. We then don't appreciate what we have because we don't take the time to actually nurture it. We're just being greedy and taking everything. So, like I said, we want this is not just for our own healing, this is for collective healing, why we do shadow reading. So, if you want to enter into winning a free reading with me, you gotta like the video, subscribe to the channel, and write the word of the video in your comment bar. I'm working on a whole new Oracle system. I can't wait to show you. And these cards are going to be old edition. You're not going to be able to get them anymore. Kind of a little bit nostalgic to me. I'll probably always pull them out on this channel though from time to time. But I'm really excited about my new deck to share it. Okay. See, this is a Joker card. So like when I pull this card, I always think that there's no mistakes, right? So if I forgot to take it out of the deck, that it must have needed to be there. So what would that represent? And I always think it's like the chameleon card, like someone that doesn't have an identity. This card doesn't really have an identity. It's a Joker card. It's like a spirit card. It comes with the deck. Um, but I just never took it out and I never take it out. And I just feel like it adds an extra layer onto the reading. And that is, again, someone's a chameleon. Someone, again, can mold to whatever environment that they go into. And so what creates that? Well, a lot of times childhood trauma creates that. If we weren't allowed to go out and find ourselves, be like childlike. That's why it says that in the Bible. We were not allowed to go out and find ourselves by exploring without judgment, without expectation, but by being a child and really going out and seeing what we like, what our ideas were, forming our own unique individuality. If we're not doing that, the number one reason why is because we don't feel safe to do that. And so what that says is that I feel like you're connected to someone that you and this person have, as I tap into you too, Virgo, you and this person have very similar wounds because you grew up the same way. And so you grew up where there was a lot of stress in the environment. And there was a lot of stress in the environment because there was addictions, because there was parents that had trauma that they didn't heal. And so when we are born into family karma, that means that we were born into families that they had habits and behaviorisms that were sabotaging. So there were money problems, there were financial issues, there was relationship issues, and there were parents that didn't feel good about themselves. So unconsciously, you and your person were born into environments that conditioned you unconsciously through, again, how your parents were, how your caretakers were, and you adapted to those same behaviorisms and habits. So when you don't feel safe and you don't feel good about yourself, it's a survival mechanism to want to be liked, to want to be accepted, to want to be approved. And I feel like people have always taken advantage of you because of this energy, and people have always taken advantage of your person because of this energy. And so your person has trust issues. They have major trust issues, even though you haven't done anything. So that's what I'm feeling, because that's what chameleon tells me. The chameleon card is all about that. But we're going to pull against another one just because that was the Joker card. And for all those that you're like, well, I don't like believe that should have been in there. Well, I do, because like I said, I don't believe in any mistakes, but let's see and go a little bit deeper to see if it has anything else to say. Yeah, dark night of the soul. And so why does a person go through a dark night of the soul? Well, when things aren't built on truth, when things are built on facade, on ego, when we, have made a bunch of wrong choices, we wind up in the dark night of the soul. We don't just wind up in the dark night of the soul because we're living our best self. We're living because when we're in the dark night of the soul, it's because our world is crumbling, our life is falling apart. So we're going through a very difficult time. It's where we're being forced. And when I say forced, I mean forced to look at how we contributed to the undesirable life experiences within our life. How did we get to where we are? And so, like I said, I feel like your person got to where they are because they didn't never created themselves. So when we don't create ourselves and we're too busy trying to be accepted to fit in, because unconsciously we don't really feel like we fit in, so we try to mold to everyone else and please everyone else. 'Cause that's really why chameleons do what they do. They they blend into the environment. They don't stand out. They won't go against the crowd. They follow the sheep. But the problem is, without your own unique individuality, you can't really go with the flow of life. You're going to be triggered because you're doing what everyone else wants you to do. No one's really paying attention to what your unique needs are. And so that means your free time, your energy, your focus, your money, your resources. So I believe that you are in connection with someone that stayed connected to someone way too long. And they're, like you said, and they stayed with them out of fear. They didn't want to stay with them. They wanted to really be with you on feeling, but they stayed connected to someone else. And what's happening is they're seeing that they can't repair that relationship. They thought that maybe if they stayed in the past relationship that they weren't really happy in, but they had investments in, well, then they would be able to, leave eventually organically, um, or, you know, work things out and stay there and not lose any of their money and not lose any. They didn't want to create ripples in their life. And because, again, not because of them, but because them changing, them moving on, them leaving a situation, them leaving a toxic situation is what I feel would create a lot of problems for a lot of other people. So they took it on, but in that, it cost them their money, their resources, like their identity. And so, which is exactly what the person that's connected to them wanted them to do. And at the time, they didn't see this. What they saw was that they were just going to, again, stay in the situation for as long as however long that it took, and then eventually get out when it was going to be easier, or that the relationship would be able to repair itself, that they were kind of waiting it out. But in the whole time, they weren't really thinking about you. Now I feel like they're thinking about you. So they are in a dark night of the soul, but it's not 100% because of you. It's because of the choices that they made. And it's also because of the failed relationships that they tried to repair after they were no longer repairable. And what it cost them is their resources, their freedom, their identity, how they felt about themselves. So I feel like this person is going to talk to you. I do, but I feel like when you see them, you're not going to recognize them. So we're going to look and see what their hidden truths are, just to see what the other cards say. Why am I getting that psychically? Why that they're in a dark night of the soul? Why is that? I want to feel that way again. Again, the connection between you and them, the soulmate connection. See, it came down to money, or it came down to being with you. Came down to living life easier by staying and going with the flow and being a chameleon, or being with you, ruffling a few feathers and being with you. But what they see is it's actually harder to stay where they are. They didn't, at first it wasn't, because they were like, well, I still have my money, I still have my house, I still have my resources, whatever it is. But um, thing is that they're connected to someone that doesn't want to be with them. That they want their resources. They want them miserable, most likely because at one time they really wanted them, and this connection hasn't really been good for a long time. You have two people that are karmic mates that are together, and that's what that is. Almost like they were in a karmic contract, and it's time that your person leaves there. And that's why they know that they made the wrong decision. They know that they're supposed to be with you. However, again, it came down to their comfort, where they came from. They came from poor. I feel like they came from a place that had a lot of spiritual blocks. They didn't, they never formed themselves. So they put extra emphasis on money, extra emphasis on support. So it's not so much that they're greedy to be greedy. This person always comes from a lack mentality. I knew exactly what I was doing, and they did know exactly what they were doing. That's why they feel bad, because they're like, they know you're going to say, you knew exactly what you were doing. Like, you chose me as an option. You chose me as, where that's not really how they see it. They just feel that that situation hadn't closed out, but they came to you, I feel like, prematurely. And that's why I'm going to say, I didn't know what I was doing when I came to you prematurely, but I was really on my way out of that situation. I feel like they got lured back in to that situation right as things were going to start with you and them. That's what I'm feeling. And that's why they're like, I knew exactly what I was doing. I feel like, but I felt like I could repair it. I thought that the money was more important. I thought that my stability. And so what this is saying is that this person didn't trust himself. Meanwhile, they're connected to someone and other people, I feel like, that benefit from them working. I wish I could share my good news with you. They're breaking away from this. And it's like they're becoming their own self. I feel like, and I've been getting this a lot lately, that you're like the catalyst to for their healing. You're like the way that you live, the way that you are, the way that you speak your mind, that you're different, you're unique. Um, this person tended to like people that were a little bit like them, phony, people that blended in, people that made it that it looked good on paper, where I'm not feeling like you fit their mold. And that's was another thing that made them not like the relationship, but then ironically fall in love with this, because it was like at first it triggered them because they were never allowed to go out and find themselves and create themselves. So someone that is bold, someone that's different, someone that speaks their mind, that doesn't care, um, that's real. That's real, that they have a real connection to. I think it was very overstimulating for them. I think that it was nerve-wracking. Oh, wait for a sign from you. See, they're again, no, I know that you're gonna say you knew exactly what you were doing. You made a choice, and they know that they did, but they made that choice at a time like it was almost like a gun was against their head. That's how they felt, that they had to make like a choice. Like they had to make, it was like a fast choice, and that choice was to stay in this connection with this karmic, even though they didn't really want to stay in that connection with the karmic. They felt like they had to. And that's for obligations. I feel like there was a lot of manipulation too. And that was the karmic's way to hold your person up, because the karmic knows that there's someone else, knows that there's someone else, knows that the person that's connected to you does not want to be with them, might not know that it's you, but knows that there's somebody else. And so there's a thing where your person's like, they're nervous. They want to talk to you, but they also like don't really know what to say. Because I feel like they held back for a long time. I'll come back to for you, but they feel like they're gonna come back for you. That's their intention. Like when you don't come back to them, like again, and wait for a sign, I feel like they're gonna have a lot of anxiety. They're not gonna be able to just let this relationship go. And I feel like part of them wanted to let it go because it would have been a lot easier. Would have been a lot easier. Obstacles, again, the obstacle is that karmic, but they're planning on leaving that karmic. It's like, and I feel like the karmic knows this, and the karmic's getting more and more crazy, and a lot of anxiety, and like almost like a bipolar energy, like where I feel like your person never saw this in this. karmic before. And so it's bringing up a lot of healing that the karmic needs to actually do, because being connected in a karmic connection, that they weren't getting what they needed. They were connected to a person for money, for outside things, for status, what it looks like, not wanting to just move on, but knowing that that connection was done a long time ago. And they keep luring them, your person in, manipulating them. And so, of course, they have a lot of karma. It's like, and I feel like they're trying to avoid that karma because they know that once your person leaves, that the karma is that they're going to see your person try to pursue you or other people, because clearly they never wanted to be with them. They don't want to be with them. So every obstacle, and I feel like also your person is nervous that this karmic might say something to you. So I always feel like they're holding back because of that. Because like I said, they're watching this karmic get more and more crazy. And I feel like this has been a connection that was supposed to end a while ago, and that karma lured them back in. And that's why a person feels sad. And I feel like the karma has put in every single obstacle in your person's way, and your person keeps on getting out of the obstacles. It might take a little time, but they still get out, which every time they do is what's making the karmic crazy. Unhealthy habits and behaviors. And that's like caring too much about what this karmic thinks, in spite of it. Like your person is, it's their life. So they stayed in the situation connected to money, stayed connected to this karmic, which is a very unhealthy habit because it makes them miserable. It makes them not really be present. They're not present. They're not, if they're now they're completely depressed. Before, I feel like they were checked out because they didn't want to be with karmic. The karmic didn't care. They would like just but make it look like what it should look like. And so there's a sense that your person is like, this is not healthy. I don't like this. I don't want to be in this, and I'm getting out of it. However, they're terrified, I believe, to contact you. They're terrified to contact you because of, again, they made the wrong choice. They made the wrong choice, not because, again, they wanted to. It was based on money. It was based on making a choice from an unhealed perspective, which was at one time they came from a place where they were poor. I don't feel like they're poor anymore. I feel like they're able to make money. I feel like I said, other people are benefiting from that. So it's giving too much power and authority to people that are just in our life doesn't at the end of the day, like we have to make ourselves happy. We have to love ourselves enough to make us happy, make ourselves happy. Because if those people aren't supposed to be in our life, then they'll drop out, and that makes room for what is supposed to be. And what I feel like your person sees is, like, from day one, from this second forward, you are supposed to be in my life. But I didn't know that. I didn't know that you were supposed to be in my life to the extent. I thought it would be easier to stay connected to this karmic. I've been down this road before where I've had to leave this karmic, but the karmic always lures me back. And that's why the karmic like just knew exactly what obstacles to keep putting in your person's way. So they actually feel a little stupid because they're like, I'm gonna come to you. And I at one time I could have came and I could have had money and I could have had everything. I feel like in now them leaving the karmic, they're really gonna leave with nothing. They were afraid to leave with not enough money when they had money, when they left that karmic. And now because they stayed, they got lured in and they lost their money. And I feel like they're gonna come to you completely like broken and disheveled, because the karmic is like I said, does not want them to move forward. It like looks at them as if they're like almost their property. And that's because they haven't emotionally gotten what they needed. So they look at them like a little bit like a cash cow, look at them like, again, through status. So the person that's connected to your person, that I believe that was a chameleon, like going with the flow, is that they're connected to a chameleon too. And this chameleon wants to portray that they have a life, like this glamorous, rich life, that they're, married to someone that's successful in business, and that's your person. However, um, for nothing else, and for nothing else, and has made your person feel as if they're obligated. And I feel like they lured them back in, selling them some sort of pipe dream, and your person was like, I don't really want to lose my money, and if I can work it out with the karmic, who I feel like they were invested for a long time, not because they were happy though, I won't lose my money. So they made a choice between money and love, and they chose money. So that's why I don't deserve you. You're too good for me. I took you for granted and treated you badly, and I'm sorry. So, like I said, they know that that's why they're holding back. That's why they're still going to come for you, because I feel like it's they can't help it. That's what unconditional love is. That is what a soul relationship is. Like, we think that we can control love. Your person thought that they can control love. That's why they're like, I'll stay with the karmic because I won't lose my money. And what they realize is, I lost my money, and now I most likely lost you too. But I'm feeling like they don't care. Like, they're still going to come back, try and come back. They're still going to try and talk to you. And try to fix it. They just don't know what to say, because they already know that you know. I'm keeping secrets from you that I'm too ashamed to admit. I'm afraid to talk about these things. So that's, again, why they're holding back, because it's like I said, they're embarrassed that they gave so much energy. First of all, they're embarrassed that they made the wrong choice. They're embarrassed that they were stayed with someone for money. They're embarrassed for like not for continually getting manipulated, for lying to you, for a lot of things. So they're ashamed. And the secrets is that, like, I kind of knew what I was doing, but because they are wounded, because they've stayed connected to a karmic, uh, they strategize. They weren't coming from a place of their heart. I don't think that they felt that they could be loved from being in a connection like this. It's a very toxic connection that they're with, and that's why they are embarrassed. So they're actually working through their process, and that's why I look at your social media, even though I tell myself not to. It haunts me because I miss you so much. And that's why, again, they're waiting for a sign from you. So I feel like they're in a place of regret, but I still feel as if they're going to come back. It's just one of those things where we don't know the day or time. I feel like it's divine time. And that's because you're still working through things. They're still working through things. They're in the dark night of the soul. So obviously we know that they're still working through things, because their life is falling apart. It wasn't based on truth. It was based on, somebody else's wants, maybe their wants, but definitely not truth. Truth is only when it's unconditional love. And what this person sees is, now that they're in dark night of soul, their whole life has collapsed, that they still are thinking about you. And that's why they're ashamed. But like I said, I really truly feel like they're going to make their way back to you. I just think that right now they're in a place of, I'm just going to pull one more, because I'm like, I can't believe my emotions are like a roller coaster now. I don't know what I can do, but I'm trying to find out. Like, and so it's like, again, they're in a place of healing and looking, which makes sense, because the dark night of the soul, it's so, again, the dark night of the soul is, you're going to be emotional. because you have to look and see how you sabotaged your life. You have to look and see how your actions and behaviorisms, and that's what he said. And that's why they're like, I don't know what I can actually have, not even what I want. It's like because they know that they want you, but they don't think that you want them. There's a part of them that is ashamed. And they also are like, is this going to be too much for me to heal? Can I even heal this? I don't even know if I can heal it, but it can be healed. And that's why I'm saying this person, like said, really thought that they could control love. So we have to say, well, we understand why you came into their life as a soulmate to teach them unconditional love, that they can and that they can be loved, because I feel like there's a soul connection. They wouldn't have this connection with you if there wasn't. I feel like they betrayed you, and that's why they know that they're not deserving of you. But it's again, they're reflecting back on the connection. But we need to say, well, why did you attract them? Like especially if they came into your life and didn't give anything, and they're realizing after the fact, why did that come into your life? Why did this person come in? What were the triggers? What did they awaken? And we need to say, again, protection. I feel like you didn't feel safe with this person. You didn't feel safe with this person because, again, there was a sense that they were never really committed to you. They didn't treat you well. And so that's why I feel like you walked away from them. You walked away from them because um, they were acted like a little bit of a chameleon. I feel like you're like, you don't really tell me who you are. You don't really let me into your life, but you want to know all about me. And then you're going to mold like my life. And that's not a real relationship. That's that's you trying to be liked, trying to be loved, trying to win me over by having a lot in common with me. And that's strategizing. That's not this heart connection, which is in contradiction to what you felt to them. And so I feel like you didn't feel safe because you're like, yeah, I don't feel like you're real. And I feel like you're holding back. And I feel like it was because you knew on some level there was someone else. You're like, why would I? Why would I feel this such a deep connection and then your actions are not lining up with your words? And magic. So I feel like you found your own magic, like when you walked away from this person. And I think that they think that you're magic because intuitively you listen to yourself. You didn't tell them, you were able to read them, and no one's ever been able to read them so fast and so accurately. And no one's ever been able to walk away from them that swiftly and without turning back. And without the little bit of games that play, because that's what they were expecting. They were expecting, oh, you walked away, you'll come back when you see it'll run after you, and you didn't. And so what you did was you put your energies into yourself. And I feel like you created a new life for yourself. So they see you as magic. But I feel as if you found your magic because if you grew up similar to the way that this person grew up and you have the same similar spiritual blocks where you didn't feel supported, you wouldn't feel protected. And protection doesn't come from outside things, it comes from self, that we're strong within ourselves, that we can go with the flow of life, that it's not our relationship that makes us strong. It's that we're strong and that you were willing to do that. And this person's never seen that. They expected you to be upset. They expected you to react the way other people have reacted. You didn't do that. So you taught this person about how to live, and that's why I feel like another reason why you came into this person's life and why they were able to see. I don't like, I'm living with a chameleon. I'm a chameleon because I'm living with a person that I don't really want to be with. And this person doesn't really want to be with me. Like our whole thing is a sham and you're living your best life. And I expected you to be so devastated by me walking away, and you are not. You're still happy, and you're happy creating and creating a new life that looks fabulous. That I feel like you're going to leave me behind. And that's really your protection because it's like when you are creating yourself, you are co creating with the divine. And that's through the universe. And the universe always brings you what you need to support you. And if that's protection, then that's protection. But I feel like your mind can also be in two places at one time. You putting the energy into yourself, well, that cut the energy off from them, and that's protection. Because sometimes our own mind, our own thoughts um, about how someone made us feel can really take us down, but that didn't happen to you. And one more, friendship. And I feel like you connected to different people. Like you, what you know too is it's like that if you weren't able to go out into the world as a child, because again, there were things that prevented you from doing that growing up. If you grew up in that trauma, as I said, then friendships would not be easy to do. So going out and finding yourself and creating yourself and finding your magic, really, it is transformational because it, but in that process, it helps you connect to new people, make new friendships. And when we are healing and evolving into higher states of consciousness, it's not uncommon for like people that no longer serve and support your highest good to just not fit into your life anymore. And they don't fit into your life because again, they don't have, might not have the same values, they might not have whatever. So I feel like you walked away, you again created yourself and you attracted new friends, and those friends help create um, support for you and also, taught you about things which you would need to know. And I feel like that's part of the magic. It's like the magic is that I'm not reliant on you, but also I went out and I found myself. And that in the end, like I said, is what made you strong. And I feel like that they're saying, well, if you can do that, then I don't need to stay with this karmic person. I can do it. And that's why, like I say, you were the catalyst, but in this connection, them making it a little bit difficult because again of their imbalances really brought you to, your gifts, brought you to finding your magic, feeling really strong within yourself, and really like building a strong foundation. Because when I think of friendship, and when I think of protection, and when I think of being strong within ourselves by knowing what our magic is, we're creating a strong like root chakra. And that enables us to attract money and abundance into our life. It enables us to be strong within ourselves, which is the key element to be strong. All right, Virgo, I'm going to leave that there. You let me know whether you resonated with this. Right now, your person again is in that dark night of the soul, but I do believe that they are going to come back just in divine time. Right now, they are miserable, however, and I think as they should be because they undervalued you. But that's just my view. I'm not supposed to have a view, but you can't help it. So I'm going to leave that there, Virgo. You let me know whether you resonated with this. And if it did, do not forget to write Dark Night of the Soul in your comment bar. All right. I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.